Hey, what's going on everybody? My name is Cruz and welcome back to another video. In this one, we're going to discuss the IRIDIUM Asterius. Let's get it. Today's video is technically a sponsored video as the fine folks at IRIDIUM FX sent over this pedal for me to check out. However, just like in all of my other videos, I'm going to give you my honest opinion. This is going to be an honest review. Let's jump right into it and start off with some of my first impressions of this pedal once I unboxed it. Once you include one of those felt pouches with your pedal, I'm sold. You've already won me over. I love those kinds of like little nuances when packaging and presenting a pedal. For me, it screams boutique. It really tells me that the person who built this cares, and they not only want to give you a great pedal, but they want to present it in a very nice way. I was immediately blown away by how well design this pedal is. It just looks really beautiful. Everything on here, every component seems to be as high level as you could make it, and boutique. Everything from the knobs all the way through, even that ring that's surrounding the foot switch there, and the fact that it's green, it basically is giving away a little bit of what the pedal is going to sound like. Essentially, it is their version of a tube screamer. Not to mention the pedal is top mounted. I love that because that means you could put it right next to another pedal and not worry about space at all. You have a volume knob, a drive knob, and a tone knob, very common in tube screamer style pedals. And then you have a bass switch. When it's switched all the way to the top, it's their vintage version, so I'm assuming it's what they feel a tube screamer should sound like. In the middle, it's their full sound, so just a little more body to it. And then all the way switched down, it's their fat sound. It adds even more bottom end. And this is something that I think will attract a lot of people who have maybe stayed away from tube screamers because they've always been a little too honky for some people, too mid-range friendly for their taste. This little switch right here could potentially make a tube screamer a lot more versatile and suit your personal needs. But there's only one way to find out. Let's hear what this pedal sounds like. For today's video, I'm going to be using my Fano SP6 with Mr. Fabulous mini humbucker pickups in them, and this is my clean sound. Now, because I am a vintage tube screamer guy, I'm going to start off with the vintage side and see what this pedal really can do. We have the volume knob at just a little over 12 o'clock. That really is more of a personal preference. We're going to start off with the drive off and see what this pedal naturally sounds like when you turn it on. And I'm going to keep the tone knob at about 2 o'clock. And for the most part, we're not going to touch the volume or the tone knob for the rest of the video. We're just going to mess with the drive a little bit. So here's the drive all the way off. Now, to my ears, though I do hear some tube screamer in there, I feel like it has its own identity in some kind of way. It has its own sound. But let's be real, a drive pedal with the drive all the way off doesn't really make sense. Let's see what this thing sounds like a little bit more pushed. I'm going to bring the drive up to about 9 o'clock and see what that sounds like. Immediately, I was surprised at how much gain it gave me by just moving that knob, just that much, that little bit. So far, I appreciate how it's still keeping its identity even as you're pushing it. So it seems to still have that same kind of clarity that I expected once the drive was pretty much all the way down. So kudos. Let's bring the drive up to about 12 o'clock and see what we get out of that. Definitely a lot more saturation than I had anticipated. For me, a lot of modern day tube screamers have a lot more gain on tap, and I guess that's a good thing because you could make it sort of do what you want it to do, but it's hard for me to get used to at times. So there's a lot of gain here to the point where I needed to jump to my bridge pickup because I felt like that's where it naturally sat best. It still sounds clear, it still sounds very full, and we haven't even touched that bass switch yet. and sounds very usable in my opinion. I think it is a great tube screamer pedal so far. But let's push it all the way and see what kind of saturation we get out of that. So as you can hear, not only was I able to get great tones out of there, I heard already my solo sound kind of creeping through. So that's a very good sign. There's no boost on there. There's no extra gain needed in my opinion. That's really the only amount of gain that I would ever need for the stuff that I do on a weekly basis. I'm going to bring the drive back down to about 9 o'clock because that's where I personally feel most comfortable with where the gain sits. And we're going to mess with that bass response now. Remember, we've been on vintage this whole time, so we're going to bring it down to the middle, and that is the full sound, and we're going to keep that gain at about 9 o'clock and see what that sounds like. That switch did exactly what it said it was going to do. It just sounded fuller. It sounded a little more fatter, a little warmer, I guess you could say. I would say that's where it appears Iridium is really trying to make their signature sound. They want to make a tube screamer, but they also want to put their own stamp on it, their own identity to it, and that's where you start hearing it in that full sound. Now let's bring the switch all the way down to the fat bass response and hear what that sounds like. Again, just as advertised, it added some fatness to it. It added some warmth, which I really, really like. It's funny because I've always said how tube screamers are extremely versatile. I always argue with people that people don't take them seriously enough. They think they're one-trick ponies. And this pedal proves it. You can literally manipulate a tube screamer to essentially sound like what you need it to sound like for the type of music that you're playing or for the purpose you want to serve on your pedal board. And I think this pedal nails it, man. It really shows how versatile a tube screamer style pedal can actually be. Quickly before we go, I want to go back to the vintage sound, bring that gain almost all the way down, add a little bit of beefiness to it, and just play some of the more ambient bass stuff that I would normally play here on a weekly basis, just to see if this pedal could suit my needs. And there you have it. That is the IRIDIUM FX Asterius. Sounds amazing. Now, we've talked about the pros here. Are there any cons? I would say the only con to my ear is just genuinely wanting to be careful I don't lose too much of that mid-range focus. All of the different tones you were getting from this are great, and especially that switch. It really adds a lot of versatility to the pedal, but I am afraid that sometimes those kinds of options take away from the pedal's initial sort of purpose, mid-range focus, shooting out in front of a mix, because that's to me what I look for when anytime I'm applying high gain stuff or when I'm playing with a band. I want to make sure that I'm sitting right where I should be sitting in a mix, and tube screamers personally help me achieve that. But other than that, I really do appreciate this pedal. It's warm, it's fat sounding. Literally that bass switch is everything. It changes the pedal completely. I think that if you're in the market for a TS style pedal, but you're not exactly sure what kind you want to shoot for, this may just be the pedal for you. It's so versatile, gives you so many options. You could literally find the tone that you're seeking after within this pedal and totally be happy with it for a lifetime. I want to thank the fine folks at IRIDIUM for sending this pedal over. It was a pleasure. I heard they got some other really cool stuff in the works as well that hopefully I can get here in the studio and showcase for them. Very, very excited to have another partner on this channel. Please let me know in the comment section your thoughts on this pedal. I really, really do enjoy working with not just the IRIDIUM folks, but a lot of the other companies that you're seeing me showcase here and that you're going to be seeing me showcase within the near future. Please do all of the things that help help this channel grow, like this video, subscribe, hit the bell notification icon so you get alerts every single time I upload a video. There are also some affiliate links in the description box below. Clicking on those links do help this channel out just a little bit. You can also contribute to the channel by clicking on the donation link in the description box below. Thanks again for watching, and until next week.